This does not look good for Liv Morgan's WWE WrestleMania match that no one is talking about, but it's something that once you hear, you won't forget. In today's video, we are going to be discussing this because WWE is still building towards Liv Morgan challenging World Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer for the title at WrestleMania. It's one of the biggest matches that WWE has booked on the WrestleMania card. It's one of the biggest and most high-profile feuds going on Monday Night Raw this time of the year, right? We're about, 5 weeks out from WrestleMania, and the build is on, and they've done a very good job. And they added another layer to the match that I think people need to keep an eye on. So let me run through this. We're obviously coming out of the March 9th episode of Monday Night Raw, the Gauntlet match to determine the #1 contender for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, right? And it was ultimately won by Bayley, who will challenge AJ Lee for the title next week on Monday Night Raw. And Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, they saw another wedge pop up between them on this show. While Morgan had come out to help, she ended up doing the opposite of what she came out for. Now look, Raquel Rodriguez competed in the Gauntlet match, and although the Miracle Kid saved her teammate from certain defeat, she also became the cause of it within the next few seconds. So let me set the scene. It was Io Sky who was about to launch her over the moonsault finisher on Raquel when Liv Morgan stepped into the ring apron and distracted her. And then this almost led to Raquel capitalizing it. However, Stephanie Vaquer entered the arena. She went after the 2026 Royal Rumble winner. Their fight moved into the ramp, and Raquel Rodriguez lost focus, got distracted by seeing her friend getting attacked, probably didn't know what to do in that scenario, and Io Sky took advantage to dive on top of her from the top rope and cradle her for the pinfall. Now, obviously, this eliminated Raquel Rodriguez from the Gauntlet match, securing her second elimination in the match. Okay, so clearly the outcome did not work out for the Judgment Day members. So you have a situation where Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, there is a wedge between them. There's slight hints and tension building towards the two, and a lot of people have thought, well, okay, this makes sense. We're eventually going to get a split. It just comes down to when. Well, Liv Morgan, if you recall, accidentally screwed Raquel Rodriguez out of the Women's World title on Monday Night Raw several weeks ago when challenging Stephanie Vaquer for the title. She got up on the apron, it distracted Raquel, yada, yada, yada. So she screwed her over there. Then the whole Royal Rumble situation went down, and now we have another situation where in storyline, Liv is trying to help Raquel, but she's actually hurting her, right? This is Pro Wrestling 101. What I think people are not looking at is you have a real possibility that WWE is so high on Stephanie Vaquer as Women's World Champion, and since they insist on having these long, drawn-out title reigns, even if it's not needed, we could have a situation where Liv Morgan does not beat Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World title. We could have a situation where WWE opts and goes, you know what? Let's keep the title on Stephanie, and what we'll do instead is we'll have Raquel Rodriguez either on purpose or not, whatever you want to do, I'm fine with either one, and you have Liv Morgan put over Stephanie Vaquer. Say Raquel comes out there, tries to get involved, but she accidentally distracts Liv Morgan, right? We all know that WWE loves their distraction roll-ups. You could do it like that. You could do it in a situation where there's a referee bump and Raquel Rodriguez comes out there and just completely screws her over, right? Like, you could do that. And look, I understand that Liv Morgan is in a spot where she's a main eventer, she's a top star, and I hope and expect her to be positioned as that. She's in her prime, and she's doing some of the best character work of her career, and it does remind me a lot of probably summer to fall 2024. But I also look at it like this. I think you need new stars. I think you need, especially on SmackDown, you need new, fresh, top stars, right? And if I'm in a situation where I go, okay, would it help Stephanie by beating Liv Morgan? Yes. And would it set up a feud between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez? whether Raquel screws over Liv or does it by accident. Either way, you eventually get to a feud between them. I go, okay. Like, I understand earlier in my channel, I always thought if you're not competing for the women's world title, if you're not competing for a title, then you're not being used to the best of your ability. All right. But if I look at it and I go, okay, WWE could set up a real possibility where if Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, they feud coming out of Mania. So you don't put the title on Liv, you have them feud coming out of Mania, and Raquel beats Liv. Not only do you give Liv something major to do after a giant push going into Mania by winning the Royal Rumble, and you're in a title match at WrestleMania, and then coming out of it, yes, you lose to Stephanie Valkyrie, but you also lose to Raquel Rodriguez, but you make Raquel into a main eventer. You further solidify Stephanie Valkyrie's spot on the card, and you get to where you need to get with Raquel. Well, okay, then I'm fine with that. Like, if you told me, here's our plan. We're going to have Liv Morgan lose to Stephanie Valkyrie at WrestleMania because Raquel Rodriguez has finally had enough of Liv Morgan. She's going to get her ultimate revenge, and they're going to feud coming out of it. Or it's an accidental, and it eventually leads to, say, a SummerSlam match between them. I'm okay with that because it keeps them in a high-profile situation, and it makes Raquel a star. And then afterwards, you tell me, yeah, and then we're going to send Raquel Rodriguez to SmackDown, and she's going to become the new Women's United States champion, or she's going to be then going and challenging for the women's title. I'm okay with that, right? Like, if you have pieces in place that make sense, that sets up bigger things down the line, and that's what pro wrestling should be. It's just the only problem is WWE doesn't always do that. Then I'm okay with that, right? Like, I understand people criticize Triple H's booking and everything like that, and to a certain degree, they have a valid point. But it seemed like earlier in Triple H's tenure as head booker or head of creative or whatever you want to call it, he would have layers of storylines where he would be doing a storyline, and then he would also in the background or in subtle hints, he would be setting up further and future storylines, and he doesn't do that anymore. Like, I understand fans like to complain, but there is a real talking point among fans that is valid that, hey, this booking is not the same. Hey, you're not doing what you used to do that made us love the product. And I think that's one of it. But just very, very curious to see where WWE goes with everything.